Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. Evolution of German borders. Let's go, guys. Armchair Historian, great channel.
The German
Or how are you? Good, I hope. Or original link to the video, top of the description. Below that, link to the Discord. Would love to have you. Let's go.
people is The history of the German people is a chronicle both complex as it is fascinating. From the warring kingdoms of late antiquity, Germanic lords converged under the Holy Roman Empire and its many banners. Yet the Germans remained distinct and fractured in a medley of independent cities, fiefs, and petty kingdoms. So how exactly did they arrive at the modern Germany we see today? I'm Griffin Johnson, the Armchair Historian, and today we will be looking at the evolution of German borders.
We talked about it in antiquity. I've said this in a few videos learning about Roman Empire. Oh, there's a Roman Republic video I want to watch that might also be internet that they had a written language, did they not? The Germanic people outside of the Roman borders. And if they did, why is there so little? Maybe they didn't. I don't know. Why is there so little record of it?
We begin in 1525, amidst the fervor of the Protestant Reformation. Following a conflict between the German Teutonic Knights and the Kingdom of Poland, the treaty...
Hold on, sorry guys.
1525, amidst the fervor of the Protestant Reformation. Following a conflict between the German Teutonic Knights and the Kingdom of Poland, the Treaty of Krakow was signed. This treaty gave its Grand Master, Albert of Hohenzollern, the autonomy to secularize the Teutonic Order and transform its Prussian holdings into a vassalized duchy under the dominion of Poland. As the first Duke of Prussia, Albert established his capital in the city of Königsberg. Fast forward to 1618, when the Prussian Hohenzollern dynasty faced an upheaval in the male line. As a result, the ducal title was passed on to the family's senior branch based out of Brandenburg. This union solidified the connection between Brandenburg, a fief of the Holy Roman Empire, and Ducal Prussia, a Polish fief. More importantly, the Brandenburg capital of Berlin became an integral part of Prussia. Over the 17th century, Frederick William, as Duke of Prussia and Prince-Elector of Brandenburg, sought to connect his disparate territories. Though his designs were complicated by King Carl Gustav. Frederick William, as Duke of Prussia and Prince-Elector of Brandenburg, sought to connect his disparate territories. Though his designs were complicated by King Carl Gustav X of Sweden, who invaded Frederick's lands, vassalizing the Great Elector. In return for war support against the Poles, Gustav promised to cede his new vassal the provinces of Helmno, Malbork, Pomerania, and Varmia, to which the Prince-Elector agreed in 1657. In response to this threat, King John Casimir II of Poland gave Frederick William a counteroffer, promising him the territories of Draheim, Elbing, Lauenburg, and Butow, along with Prussia's full independence, which Frederick William keenly accepted in 1657. With its independence secured, Prussia was able to prosper, later elevating from a duchy to a fully fledged kingdom in 1701, with Frederick William's grandson, Frederick I, adopting the title King in Prussia. From here,
as the Hohenzollerns were still subjects of the Holy Roman Emperor, they were only allowed to use the legally fictitious title of King of Prussia instead of King.
The fledgling kingdom began to establish itself among the empires of Europe. During the Great Northern War, the Prussians secured the Swedish territory of Pomerania in 1720, with the prosperous Austrian province of Silesia becoming incorporated in 1742, thanks to the strategic prowess of Frederick II. Following the territorial deadlock of the 7 Years' War, King Frederick II wished to connect his territories much like his great-grandfather had wished over a century ago. Before we continue, I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, Curiosity.
Guys,
stream.
If you are interested here and you learned it here, you found out about it here, please use his links and make sure to use his promo codes, the slash whatever, you know.
The global entertainment brand for people who want to know more. CuriosityStream offers exclusive content from award-winning and original documentary films to shows and series that you can't find anywhere else. New content drops every week with a deep selection of topics spanning science, nature, history, technology, military history, music, food, and more. I recently enjoyed 2 World War II documentary series, Apocalypse World War II and Berlin 1945. With plans starting at under $5 a month and both monthly and annual options available, you can access thousands of hours of high-quality documentaries and series by choosing the plan that works best for you and your budget. CuriosityStream is also available on multiple devices like your TV, computer, or smartphone, making it easy to expand your knowledge on a variety of topics by watching your favorite documentaries anytime, anywhere. Support our channel and go to curiositystream.com/armchair or scan the QR code for unlimited access to the world's top documentaries and nonfiction series.
The science of cute. Did you see that? I love thinking about where our basic kind of emotions come from, you know, like sadness, you know, cute. I feel like the first 2 emotions we ever experienced, or animals, life ever experienced, was lust, sex drive, right? And fear. Unless you count hunger 1, because that has to be 1. All right, not counting hunger. Because if you think about it, what is so essential to life? Obviously, sex drive, lust, right? That's why I include it. If you don't reproduce, you're not going to carry on very long as a species, right? And then fear of dying and unable to reproduce, right? And so I love thinking about that. Science of cute. Nice.
And save 25% right away. The tail end of the 18th century saw Frederick teaming up with the Austrians and Russians to cow the Polish into submission, forcing them to cede further territory during the First Partition of Poland. This helped Frederick bridge the gap between East Prussia and Brandenburg. From here, Frederick could ratify his title fully and become the King of Prussia, circumventing the legal loopholes imposed on his father by the Holy Roman Empire. The beginning of the 19th century saw the rise of Napoleon Bonaparte, and with it, a brief pause on German fortunes. It was during this period that Prussia would come to blows with the pint-sized potentate, suffering the loss of more than half of its territory after the Treaty of Tilsit in 1807, which mostly remained with the Russian
he was average height.
Territory after the treaty-sized potentate, suffering the loss of more than half of its territory after the Treaty of Tilsit in 1807, which mostly remained with the Russians even after Napoleon's defeat. However, not all was lost, as the Congress of Vienna in 1814 gave Prussia the regions of Jülich-Klevsberg and the Lower Rhine following the French Empire's defeat, which were more industrialized and thus more valuable. The Congress also consolidated Prussia and other German states into the wider German Confederation, much like how the Holy Roman Empire did before it was dissolved by Napoleon. Despite efforts from European statesmen to stabilize the post-Napoleonic world, much of Europe itself would succumb to a bout of nationalist fervor. In 1848, various uprisings occurred all across Europe, with many seeing the unification of German territories as inevitable. Nationalist politicians formed the Frankfurt Parliament and even offered the crown of Germany to King Frederick William IV of Prussia, who rejected it in disgust. For the conservative Hohenzollern, this title was a crown from the gutter, a dog collar offered by bakers and butchers and reeking with the stench of revolution. This sentiment was echoed by the aristocratic Junker class, who berated the democratic liberals for their attempts to erode the monarchy. The question of a united Germany gave rise to disagreements. The Lesser Germany parties, led by Prussia, advocated for a smaller Germany that would exclude Austria. On the other hand, the Greater Germany advocates called for the inclusion of Austria, aiming for a larger empire that encompassed all German-speaking territories. During these proceedings, the great statesman Otto von Bismarck emphasized the need for decisive action over liberal speeches and majority decisions. For Bismarck, the unification of Germany had to be achieved under the leadership of conservative and militaristic Junkers. In 1864, a conflict arose when Denmark claimed sovereignty over both Schleswig and Holstein, causing Prussia and Austria to declare war and ultimately emerge victorious. As a result, Prussia gained control of Schleswig, while Austria acquired Holstein. However, tensions mounted as Austrian access to Holstein was throttled by Prussian bureaucracy, leading to further conflicts. In 1866, Prussian troops occupied Holstein, sparking a war with Austria and the majority of the German Confederation, who backed them. The Italians, also seeking to unify their own peninsula, joined the conflict by declaring war on Austria just 5 days later. Within a mere 2 months, Prussia achieved a resounding victory over Austria, annexing significant portions of northern German territory and establishing the North German Confederation. With the Iron Chancellor at the helm, German expansion was all but inevitable. An opportunity for such expansion presented itself in 1870 when the Spanish crown was offered to a Hohenzollern. While the Hohenzollern's prince's candidacy was eventually withdrawn, Bismarck released the Ems Dispatch, a telegram sent by Wilhelm I rejecting French demands that Prussia never again support a Hohenzollern candidacy.
Didn't Bismarck make it sound a little more disrespectful than it really did, just to fuel the fire?
This telegram made it appear as if the Prussian King Wilhelm I had treated the French envoy Vincent Benedetti with much disrespect. The French emperor, along with his people, took it hook, line, and sinker, expressing outrage at the incident, which ultimately led to France declaring war on the
You gonna take that, man? You gonna take that? Oh, God.
outrage at the incident, which ultimately led to France declaring war on the Prussians. In response, the Germans marched in and thoroughly trounced the French, much to the humiliation of their adversary. Following their victory, the Germans unified into a new empire, and with it, against the advice of Bismarck, who feared French revanchism, annexed Alsace-Lorraine in 1871. From here, the new German state expanded its borders, having brokered new territories in Africa during the Berlin Conference of 1884. Pacific colonies were purchased from Spain following the Spanish-American War.
I need eye drops. My eyes are dry. Come on, I don't want to. Too much. Okay, sorry.
While the North Sea enclave of Heligoland was ceded to Germany from the Conference of 1884. Pacific colonies were purchased from Spain following the Spanish-American War, while the North Sea enclave of Heligoland was ceded to Germany from the Brits. Within Asia, the Germans were also able to gain a foothold in China following the Boxer Rebellion in the late 1890s. By the turn of the 20th century, Germany had arguably reached its zenith. Events following the First World War would see the German Empire dissolved, and with it a score of territories, including Alsace-Lorraine, the Polish Corridor, and Schleswig. Beyond its European holdings, Germany was forced to cede all of its colonial possessions, which included German East Africa and Southwest Africa,
Guys.
along with Pacific colonies.
Do you think that so Germany do you think that the winning Allied powers in World War I should have been less hard on Germany, since they weren't the obvious start of the war? You could kind of claim in some ways that they weren't exactly lowering tension, but that, you know, if they had a little more empathy with Germany the Germany of World War One, and didn't just see them as an encroaching power, challenging British and French dominance, both on Europe and globally. That something like World War Two happening, it just seemed to, like, what do you expect when you just demolish and I'm not exactly sure. I said this before, how uh disrespectful the Treaty of Versailles was compared to other treaties in wars in Europe, but this isn't just any other war. This is clearly a very strong nation. Even with them being defeated, they're going to be a very large part in European history, as was proven in World War II. But it seems like perhaps with in hindsight, seeing World War II, that the allies of World War One were a little bit short-sighted in their punishment of Germany at the end of in 1919 and at the end of World War One. That makes sense?
Such as Nauru, Western Samoa, and Papua New Guinea. In the place of the empire, an unstable Weimar Republic was left to pick up the pieces, not lasting long before the rise of National Socialism under Adolf Hitler. The irredentist Nazis quickly sought to restore what they felt had been stolen, reintegrating the Saarland from the League of Nations after a successful plebiscite in 1935. Following their rapid remilitarization, German troops marched into Austria and the Sudetenland in 1938, annexing them into their vision of a greater Germany. By March 1939, all of Czech had been absorbed into the Third Reich, with Slovakia forming a puppet regime. Poland's refusal to hand over the free city of Danzig in September then sparked the Second World War, plunging Germany into a titanic conflict that eventually ended with them having less territory than when they started. Germany lost a quarter of its pre-war territory to Poland and the Soviet Union, with the remaining territory being divided into 4 occupation zones. The British, French, Americans, and Soviets each controlled a quadrant. Berlin was also divided between the East and West. Eastern Prussia and Königsberg became Kaliningrad, part of the USSR. To counter the communist influence in the Cold War, the Allied zones united to form the Federal Republic of Germany in 1949, while the Soviet Union established the German Democratic Republic. France maintained control over the Saarland until another plebiscite in 1957 led to its reunification with Germany. German borders would remain the same until 1989, when the Berlin Wall fell, which led to the two Germanys uniting in 1990, forming the modern German Federal Republic. From the patchwork remnants of the Middle Ages through the imperial ambitions of the Hohenzollerns, Germany slowly but surely converged into the nation-state that we see today. While politics and diplomacy had their influence, the concessions of war had as much to do with Germany's gains as it did with its losses. The Iron Chancellor himself said it best when faced with the question of German unification. Not through speeches and majority decisions will the great questions of the day be decided, but by iron and blood.
North Korea is the only country.
Really fascinating. Armchair Historian is just such a great channel. I didn't like it. Awesome. Would appreciate any comments, especially if you answer any of my questions or whatnot. Love to see it. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you learned something. Or again, we'll continue with another Armchair Historian video right after this. It just came out today on what was it? Oh yeah, I think Taiwanese military. It'll be interesting to watch something a bit more modern. Again, hope you guys are doing well, and I will see you next time. Bye.